All right, I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate spider, in my opinion. All right, so first, 3/4 inch nipple. This is a 3-inch, you can do a 4-inch, you can do whatever length you want. I wouldn't go any more than a 4-inch because we're going to fill it full of epoxy. All right, so 3/4 inch nipple, brass nipple by 3-inch. Next, the hosing tubes you're going to choose. These are nylon, 1/4 inch, I believe. Let me show you. Some people think the bigger hoses they get, the better. Retarded. You don't need big hoses. In fact, the bigger that you go, the more you're robbing from the other diver. If you're diving 2 divers. So this is what you want, 1/4 inch. You can see the size right there. It's small. I bought 5 10-foot sections. So a total of 50 feet. You want to take your 5 hoses. I tape them on the end just to make things easier. And I'm going to insert it into the 3/4 inch nipple. Like so, all right? And then I let it hang out just a couple inches. 2 inches is fine. Anyway, once I've got them through there, I'm going to use some electrical tape to basically build a form of sorts. And you can see I'm wrapping it extremely tight around the threads of the nipple, and then extremely tight around 2 inches of hose that we pulled out the end. I'm going to make a couple passes here. And this is going to come off when we're all done. And you'll see why later, but we want to make this nice and tight. All right. So now we got our 3/4 inch nipple. We got our 5/4 inch hoses sticking out the end by about 2 inches. We've made a form around the end here. And the reason for that is we are going to fill around all these tubes with epoxy down inside the nipple and completely fill it 100%. All right, so give me a second, I'm gonna set up for that. Okay, so I have gotten ready here. What I did is I used a quick clamp just because I have one. Just squeezed it, made like a little tripod. So you can see, so this is in the up position. It stays up. I don't have to hold it with my hand and keep fumbling with it. It's a nice solid base. So when we go to fill this thing, we're not fucking around. Okay, so what I'm going to use is, again, everything I bought here is from Home Depot. Total with parts and everything, I think it was around 50, 60 bucks. I'm using a 2-part epoxy. It comes with a nozzle. It's actually JB Weld. Home Depot has just switched over to this JB Weld brand, which has been around forever, but they got rid of their regular marine epoxies. So this is what's available. It's 3,900 PSI, I believe. Yep. So it's good stuff, and it'll last. So this is easy. Break off the tip. Put the nozzle on. And then there's a little catch right here. Pop that out. And then I usually get rid of the first little squirt. Just so I know I got good epoxy going in there. All right, get rid of that first little bit. I'll back it off. Okay, now I'm just going to start injecting this epoxy into the nipple. I am going to keep moving the hoses around because I want to fill it up all the way. I don't want any air pockets. I'm actually probably going to wind up using 2 of these. All right, so I got it full now. Let's take a look here. So you can see it is, oops, there we go. It's completely topped off. It's actually oozing out down the side. The full 3 inches of the nipple is full of epoxy. And now I'm just gonna sit with it for a little bit and let it ooze down. And then if I need to put just a little bit more on the top as it settles, I can do that. But I think we're gonna be pretty good here. So we'll be back in a little bit after this cures. Okay, so it's been a few hours now. Everything's good and solid inside here. All the epoxy has cured. So now we need to remove the tape that we put on the end earlier and free all this stuff up. See, we have solid epoxy all the way to the end, locking in all these hoses. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little hand saw. You can use a sharp knife or saw, or a little sawzall. Anyway, I'm just going to cut these off flush with the end of the nipple. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've now removed all the excess, and you can see our 5/4 inch hoses flush with the end of the nipple. Everything's locked in there solid. Now for the fittings. So this is going to look like a lot right now, and it kind of is. The person who is purchasing this Spyder wanted a dump valve in it, or a bypass, so I'm installing that. Personally, I grew up without using the bypass. I don't feel like it's necessary. If you're someone who knows what you're doing really, and you feel the water heating up, you should know you should just unplug it. Because what happens is now you got a diver who's got a dump valve and it's just a little too hot. Now they're opening it and they're closing it, and they're constantly screwing with the other diver's hot water. So then the other diver now starts complaining that they're too hot or they're too cold because diver one is constantly moving their dump valve around. And then you have topside running around trying to regulate the valves on the peanut tank, and it turns into a clusterfuck. But nevertheless, that's what they want, so that's what they're going to get. So to just kind of run through all this, we've got the actual Spyder part with the 3-inch nipple, 3/4 inch by 3-inch nipple. We have a reducer, 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch. All right. Then we've got a 1/2 to 1/4, which a lot of people are having problems finding these. They're pretty easy to find, in my opinion. But I actually heard that these were difficult to find for some people. Anyway, that's what they are. That's what they look like. 1/2 inch to 1/4. And then I've got another nipple here, 1/4 inch nipple. I tried to find a close nipple. This is all they had, so that does add a little bit extra length, but that's okay. All right, so reducer 3/4 to 1/2, 1/2 to 1/4, 1/4 to our T-fitting. Okay. Off the T-fitting, if we're going to continue straight down the line, then I've got another 1/4 inch nipple. And then here I'm using a, typically we use just a standard universal 1/4 inch quick disconnect, but I did find this one, which is a high flow aluminum, which I thought was pretty neat. So we're gonna give that a shot. And that's on the end. And then our dump valve right off the tee. Now, along with the high flow female, I've also got a high flow male, 1/4 inch high flow. This will be what actually comes directly off of the hot water hose that's attached to the rig. And this is just a push and lock. Stays in there good. Should work out really good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna tighten all this stuff up and then I'll be back. Okay, so we got everything tightened up now. Nice and tight, nice and solid. The male fitting. Dump valve, we make sure it, all right, so let me back up. So the way this is gonna be worn is over the back of the neck into the wetsuit. It's important it goes over the back of the neck. That helps with kinking. If you try to run it right off in front of you into your wetsuit, what happens is this starts to kink right here and you're just fucking yourself. So you need to run it behind your back, this, and then we have 5 hoses. So what I told you earlier, sometimes I used to run 6. I used to run 1 to each extremity, 1 to my chest and 1 to my ass. I found that my ass doesn't really get that cold anymore. So I just run 1 to my chest and then each extremity for 5. And that'll do it. One other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run electrical tape around the bottom of the 3/4 inch fitting, and I'll run it out 6 or 8 inches past the end, keep them nice and tight. And that'll also help with the hoses trying to, as you're working, sometimes they want to try to back out and you get this clusterfuck behind you of hoses. So that'll help. I'm going to tape that up and then I'll show that to you.